हे गाइस, वेलकम बैक टू यूट्यूब चैनल। आई एम ओम प्रकाश सैनी और आज हम जो अनाउंस करने जा रहे हैं वो हमारा व्हाट्सएप नंबर है, जिसके माध्यम से हम आप तक विभिन्न प्रकार के आपकी आवश्यकता के अनुसार नोट्स उपलब्ध करवाएंगे। आपको अपना सब्जेक्ट और क्लास लिखकर हमें व्हाट्सएप करना है। आपको तुरंत आपके सब्जेक्ट के और आपकी क्लास के पूरे नोट्स जो भी अवेलेबल होंगे वो सेंड कर दिए जाएंगे। हमारे जो व्हाट्सएप नंबर रहेंगे वो हैं 86 96 60 85 41। आप इस नंबर पर हमें व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं। आप इस पर कॉल ना करें, कॉल रिसीव नहीं कर पाएंगे क्योंकि काफ़ी स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं वो कंटिन्यूसली इस पर कॉल करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।
Introduction. Good morning, teacher. Good morning, students. Today, we will learn structural organization in animals.
Sir, what kind of structure do animals have?
All the animals are made up of tissues. Sir, how many kinds of tissues in animals are present? There are 4 types of animal tissues.
Sir, are the organs in human body also made of tissues?
Yes, Nana. In this lesson, you will learn animal tissues and the organs. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe epithelial tissue, describe connective tissue, describe muscular tissue, describe neural tissue, describe organ and organ system. Animal tissues. In animals, organs are composed of different combinations of 4 basic tissue types. They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and neural tissue. Let's know about them in detail. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is made up of cells which are closely associated to each other with no intercellular spaces and arranged in one or more layers. This tissue is specialized form to cover all internal and external body surfaces. The 2 types of epithelial tissues are simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Let's know about them in detail. Simple epithelium. On the basis of structure, simple epithelium is further divided into 3 types. They are squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. Squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium is composed of flattened, irregularly shaped cells forming a continuous surface. They form the lining of cavities such as the mouth, blood vessels, heart and lungs, and make up the outer layers of the skin. In the kidneys, squamous epithelial cells line small structures known as glomeruli, which are responsible for filtering the blood. Squamous epithelial cells line blood vessels, where they are known as endothelium. The endothelium functions as a gatekeeper for blood vessels. Cuboidal epithelial. Cuboidal cells are square or cuboidal in shape. Each cell has a circular nucleus in the center. Cuboidal epithelium is found in glands and in the lining of the kidney tubules, as well as in the ducts of the glands. They constitute the germinal epithelium, which produces the egg cells in the female ovary and the sperm cells in the male testes. Columnar epithelial. Columnar epithelial cells are arranged in 1 or more layers. The cells are elongated and column-shaped. Columnar epithelial cells form the lining of the stomach and intestines. Some columnar cells are dedicated for sensory reception in ears, nose, and the taste buds of the tongue. If the columnar epithelial cells possesses cilia, that is fine hair outgrowth, then they are called ciliated columnar epithelium. The movement of cilia in a certain direction causes the mucus, which is secreted by goblet cells, to move in that direction. Ciliated epithelium is also found in the uterus and fallopian tubes of females. Glandular epithelium. Columnar epithelium with goblet cells is called glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium are of two types. Unicellular glands consist of single, isolated glandular cells such as goblet cells. Multicellular glands are composed of clusters of cells. Most glands are multicellular, including the salivary glands. Glandular epithelium. On the basis of secretion, glands can be classified as exocrine glands, glands that release their products onto the apical surface directly or through the epithelial ducts that are connected to the apical surface. Example, salivary gland. Endocrine glands, glands that secrete their products directly in the bloodstream. Endocrine glands lack a duct system. Example, pituitary gland. Compound epithelium. Compound epithelium consists of more than one layer of cells. Being multi-layered, compound epithelia have very less role in secretion or absorption, but they provide protection to underlying tissues against mechanical, chemical, thermal, or osmotic stresses. There are three types of junction in epithelium tissue. Tight junction. It forms the closest contact between adjacent cells. Adhering junction. It provides strong mechanical attachments between adjacent cells. Gap junction. These are intercellular channels, and it permits the free passage between the cells of ions and small molecules. Connective tissue. Connective tissue is the most widespread and abundant type of tissue found in the human body. Its primary function is to support the body and to bind or connect together all type of tissues. It also provides mechanical strength, which helps in locomotion. Connective tissues are cells which are widely separated from each other. These living cells secrete large amount of intercellular ground substance, also called matrix. The matrix is a non-living material which may be liquid, that is blood, semi-solid, that is connective tissue, or solid, that is bone. Types of connective tissue. There are three types of connective tissue. They are loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Let's know them one by one. Loose connective tissue. Loose connective tissue has cells and fibers loosely arranged in the matrix. Areolar connective tissue. It consists of three types of cells, that are fibroblasts, macrophages, and mast cells, and two types of protein fibers, that are collagen and elastin fibers, all distributed in the matrix. Adipose tissue. It is another loose connective tissue, consists of collagen fibers, elastin fibers, fibroblasts, macrophages, and adipocytes which store fat. The adipose tissue synthesizes, stores, and metabolizes fats. It prevents heat loss by forming an insulating layer beneath the skin. Dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue. The cells and fibers are compactly packed. If the fibers are irregular in orientation, the tissue is called dense irregular connective tissue. It is found in the skin. If the fibers show a regular orientation pattern, it is called dense regular connective tissue. Example: tendon and ligament. Specialized connective tissue. Specialized connective tissue. It includes cartilage, bones, and blood. Cartilage. It is a semi-rigid and flexible connective tissue. The matrix is solid, flexible, and resists compression. The cells of this tissue, called chondrocytes, are bluntly angular and occur in clusters of 2 or 3 in each lacunae in the matrix. Bone. It is a rigid and strong connective tissue. Bones give protection to the internal organs. Bones provide place for attachment of muscles and help in movement and locomotion. Long bones of the limb serve the weight-bearing function. Blood. It is a connective tissue containing RBC, that is red blood cell, WBC, that is white blood cell, platelets, and plasma. The main function of the blood is transportation of gases, nutrients, etc. from one part of the body to the other part. Muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is capable to relax and contract and can do movement and mechanical work in various parts of the body. Muscle tissue can be divided into 3 categories: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Skeletal muscle. They have complex structure and are arranged in layers over the bones. The basic action of any muscle is contraction. For example, brain sends a signal down to a nerve cell telling your biceps muscle to contract. It involves in coordinated movements of limbs, trunk, jaws, eyeballs, etc., and in breathing process. Smooth muscle. Smooth muscle. Smooth muscle tissue is made up of thin elongated muscle cells and fibers. These fibers are pointed at their ends, and each fiber has a single, large, oval nucleus. Smooth muscle controls slow, involuntary movements such as the contraction of the smooth muscle tissue in the walls of the stomach and intestines. The muscles of the arteries contracts and relaxes to regulate the blood pressure and the flow of blood. Cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscles are found only in the walls of heart. Cardiac muscle tissue plays an important role in the contraction of the atria and ventricles of the heart. It causes the rhythmical beating of the heart, circulating the blood and its contents throughout the body as a consequence. Neural tissue. Neural tissues are the specialized structure for the conduction of electrical impulses that convey information from one part of the body to another. Organ and organ system. Organs are the next level of organizations in the body. An organ is a structure that contains at least 2 different types of tissue function as a together unit. There are different organs in human body, for example, liver, kidney, skin, etc. Organ system is composed of 2 or more different organs that work together to provide a common function. Some of the organ systems are skeletal system, muscular system, circulatory system, nervous system, etc. Did you know? A study including Indian origin researchers have shown that a protein that is necessary for lactation in mammals also acts as a tumor suppressor in breast cancer. We found that when ELF5 levels are low or absent, epithelial cells become more like stem cells, morphing into mesenchymal cells, changing their shape and appearance and migrating elsewhere in the body. This is how cancer spreads, said Sinha. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. 4 basic tissue types are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, neural tissue. Epithelial tissue is specialized form to cover all internal and external body surfaces. 2 types of epithelial tissue are simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Squamous epithelium is composed of flattened, irregularly shaped cells forming a continuous surface. Cuboidal epithelium cell has a circular nucleus in the center and found in glands and in the lining of the kidney tubules as well as in the ducts of the glands. Columnar epithelial cells forms the lining of the stomach and intestines. Compound epithelium consists of more than one layer of cells. The primary function of connective tissue is to support the body and to bind or connect together all types of tissue. 3 types of connective tissue are loose, dense, and specialized connective tissue. Muscle tissues are capable to relax and contract and can do movement and mechanical work in various parts of the body. Neural tissues are the specialized structure for the conduction of electrical impulses. An organ is a structure that contains at least 2 different types of tissue function as a together unit. Organ system is composed of 2 or more different organs that work together to provide a common function. Introduction. The weather is too good, Rohit. Yes, Deepak. Look at here, Rohit. There are lots of frogs jumping in the water. Where do they come from? They come out during rainy season because there is no threat of get dried. How do they breathe? Good question, Deepak. Frogs use internal gills and their skin for breathing underwater, and they also use lungs for breathing in air. Their skin is slippery with mucus and is always kept moist. One interesting thing, I would like to tell you that adult frogs do not have tail, and a tail is present in tadpole. Let's know more about it. In this lesson, you will learn morphology and anatomy of animals. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe morphology and anatomy of earthworm. Describe morphology and anatomy of cockroach. Describe morphology and anatomy of frog. Earthworm. Earthworm Ferretima posthuma belongs to phylum Annelida oligochaetae. It is used for type study because of the following reasons. It occurs all over the world except the Arctic and Antarctic regions. It is easily available. It is harmless to handle. Its size is a convenient for study. Its morphology is well studied. Morphology. Earthworm has long cylindrical and bilaterally symmetrical body. The anterior end of the body is pointed and adapted for burrowing, while the posterior end is more or less blunt. A full-grown earthworm is usually 4 to 6 inches in length and less than a quarter or inch in diameter. The body surface is marked into body segments by transverse annular grooves. The numbers of segments are more than 100. Morphology: prostomium and peristomium. The head is not distinct in earthworm. At the extreme anterior end is a conical fleshy lobe known as prostomium, which overhangs the mouth. The mouth is a ventral opening in the first segment, which is called the peristomium. The prostomium is sensory in function, and with its help, earthworm can discriminate between light and dark. Clitellum. In adult worm, a prominent band of thickened and glandular skin. The clitellum encircles the body in 14th, 15th and 16th segments. Setae. Each segment, except the first and the last, is provided with small cuticular bristles or setae. These are slightly curved or S-shaped bodies with tapering ends, composed of horn-like substance, the chitin. Anatomy. Body wall of an earthworm is thin, soft, slimy, brownish and shiny. Cuticle is the uttermost layer of the body wall. Below the cuticle, there is a single layer of cells called epidermal cells. The epidermis in the region of clitellum is very much thickened and highly vascular. The clitellar glands secrete albumin, which participates in the formation of cocoon. Alimentary canal. The alimentary canal of earthworms is in the form of straight tube. It starts from mouth in the first segment and ends into anus situated at the posterior end. Mouth is small, crescentic aperture placed mid-ventrally in the first segment and protected by fleshy prostomium. The pharynx is a small, thick-walled and pear-shaped chamber which extends from third to fifth segments. The dorsal wall of pharynx is thick and bulb-like and is known as pharyngeal bulb. Oesophagus is a long, thick-walled, narrow tube extending from fifth to eighth segment. Gizzard is a hard, thick-walled, oval chamber present in eighth and ninth segments. Its wall is highly muscular and consists of a thick layer of circular muscles. Alimentary canal. The gizzard terminates into a long tubular stomach which extends from 10th to 14th segments. Its walls are highly muscular and glandular and thrown internally into numerous folds. Intestine. Intestine starts after 14th segment as a thin-walled white tube with wrinkled outer surface. The internal lining is thrown into small folds called villi. One of the villi becomes larger and well-developed, forming typhlosole, which hangs in a lumen of intestine from its dorsal wall. The part of intestine lying in the segments from 15th to 26th is known as pretyphlosolar region. Its walls is highly vascular and internally folded to form villi. No typhlosole is found in this region. Starting from the 26th segment and occupying approximately 23 or 24 segments lies the typhlosolar region of the intestine. The rectum occupies last 24 and 25 segments and is without typhlosole and villi. Circulatory system. Earthworm has a closed circulatory system consisting of heart, blood vessels and blood. Blood glands produce blood cells and hemoglobin, which remain dissolved in plasma, and blood glands present in 4th, 5th and 6th segment of the body. 4 pair of heart with valves are present in segment 7, 9, 12 and 13. Contractions of the heart keep the blood circulating in one direction. Smaller blood vessels supply blood to the alimentary canal, nerve cord and the body wall. Blood cells are phagocytic in nature. Respiratory system. There is no specialized respiratory system. Exchange of respiratory gases occurs between the gases that dissolve in the moisture of the skin and the underlying blood vessel of the body wall. It is called cutaneous respiration. Excretory organs. A tubular excretory organ is called nephridia. It is of three types: septal, integumentary, and pharyngeal. Septal nephridia. These are the largest nephridia of pheretima. They are attached to both the faces of each intersegmental septum behind 15th segment. The typical septal nephridium consists of three main parts: nephrostome, body, and terminal duct. Integumentary nephridia. These nephridia lie scattered on the entire inner or parietal surface of body wall in each segment except the first two. Pharyngeal nephridia. These occur as paired tufts on either side of pharynx and oesophagus in 4th, 5th, and 6th segments. Each tuft consists of hundreds of coiled branched tubules without nephrostomes. Nervous system. A pair of suprapharyngeal or cerebral ganglia are fused to form a brain that lies in the anterior and dorsal part of the third segment. It is connected to two subpharyngeal ganglia lying below the pharynx with the help of a pair of circumpharyngeal connectives that form a nerve ring. A double ventral nerve cord runs up to the last segment. Ganglia are segmentally arranged on the nerve cord and give off nerves to the organs of the segment concerned. Sensory system. Earthworm has receptor cells for light and touch, that is, tactile senses. They can sense the light intensities and feel the vibrations on the ground. They also have chemoreceptors which react to chemical stimuli. All these sensory structures are present in the anterior segments of the body. Reproductive system. The earthworm is a hermaphrodite or monoecious. That is, both the ovaries and testes are present in the same individual. There are two pairs of testes present in the 10th and 11th segments, one pair in each segment. Each testis is enclosed in a testis sac. Each testis sac opens into a spermiducal funnel, which opens into a long vasa deferens. Pair of large prostate gland is present on each side of the intestine from 17th to 20th segments. Two pairs of accessory glands are present, one pair in each of 17th and 19th segments. The common prostate and spermatic duct opens to the exterior by a pair of male genital pores or the ventrolateral side of the 18th segment. Four pairs of sac-like structures called spermathecae are found, one in each of the 6th to 9th segments. During copulation, a pair of earthworms exchanges sperm. The sperm is stored in sacs called spermathecae until it can be transferred to an egg. In some species, this is done externally. The earthworm secretes a cocoon in which it deposits its egg and its mate's stored sperm. The baby earthworms emerge from the cocoon nearly fully developed but very small. They grow to a full size over the course of approximately 1 year. Cockroach. Cockroaches are insects with long antennae and legs which feed on scavenging. Morphology. The body of the cockroach is divisible into head, thorax, and abdomen region. The cockroach has sensory antennae which helps them to monitor their surrounding environment. The head of the cockroach is triangular in shape and it is at right angle to the body. It is formed by fusion of segments and it can be moved in all directions due to the flexible neck. The head bears a pair of compound eyes, a pair of antennae which helps in monitoring the environment. Their mouths have jaws that move from side to side instead of up and down, and their versatile mouths allow them to bite, chew, lick, or even lap up their food. Morphology. The thorax is the middle part of the body. The insect's 6 legs and 2 wings are attached to it. 2 claws on each leg and hairs on them make them capable of holding and climbing a wall easily. The legs of the cockroach are very strong and they can propel up to 4.8 kilometers per hour. Thorax comprises of 3 parts: prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. The prothoracic legs are nearest to the cockroach's head. These are the shortest leg and they act like brakes when the cockroach runs. A portion of the prothorax also covers the cockroach's head. The middle legs are the mesothoracic legs. These legs help the cockroach to speed up or slow it down. The very long metathoracic legs are the cockroach's back legs and they move cockroach forward. Morphology. Abdomen. The cockroaches have segmented abdomen that contains the internal organs. A tube-shaped heart moves blood to organs and tissues. The blood is colorless as it does not use hemoglobin to carry oxygen. An aorta carries blood to particular organs. Most of the blood travel through a network of spaces called a homocele. Anatomy. Alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is divided into 3 parts: foregut, midgut, and hindgut. The mouth directs towards muscular pharynx and follows into oesophagus. The oesophagus ends up in a sac-like structure called crop, which is used for storing food. In close contact with the sac, a gizzard or proventriculus is present. The outer layer of proventriculus is made up of thick circular muscles and inner cuticle made up by 6 chitinous plates, which form teeth that functions to break down and grind the food particles. Hepatic sachet or gastric sachet is a ring of 6 to 8 blind tubules that are present at the mid of foregut and midgut. Gastric sachet secretes digestive juices. The midgut and hindgut are long tubules with the hindgut wider than the midgut. The hindgut is divided into 3 parts: ileum, colon, and anus. Yellow, thin filamentous rings up to 100 to 150 tubules called Malpighian tubules are present between the midgut and hindgut. Their function is to cut out the excretory and waste products through hemolymph. Circulatory system. Cockroaches have open circulatory system with poor developed blood vessels. The blood vessels get into a space called hemocoel, where visceral organs are bathed in blood, known as hemolymph. The hemolymph is made up of colorless plasma and hemocytes, thus giving white color to the blood of cockroach. The heart is lying along the mid-dorsal line of thorax and abdomen. The heart is further differentiated into funnel-shaped chambers with ostia on both sides. Respiratory system. Respiratory system is present on the lateral side of the body. There are 10 pair holes called spiracles consisting tracheal tubes. The tracheal tubes are further categorized into thin branching tubes called as tracheoles. These tracheoles carry oxygen from air to all regions of the body. The exchange of gases takes place at tracheoles by the process of diffusion. Excretory system. Excretion in cockroach is done by Malpighian tubules present at the junction of midgut and hindgut in alimentary canal. Malpighian tubules are covered with ciliated and glandular cells which absorb the nitrogenous waste products and convert them into uric acid. This type of excretory system is known as uricotelic. Nervous system. Nervous system of cockroach is a series of fused sectionally arranged ganglia joined by paired longitudinal connectives lies on the ventral surface of the body. 3 ganglia are in thorax region and 6 are in the abdomen region. The brain is represented by supraoesophageal ganglion in the head region, which supplies nerves to sensory organs, that antenna and compound eyes. Reproductive system. Cockroaches are dioecious. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes from which a vas deferens runs down and opens into an ejaculatory duct through seminal vesicle. These seminal vesicles consist of sperms bind together in packets called spermatophores. The ejaculatory duct opens into male gonophores present on the ventral side of anus. The reproductive accessory gland is present in the 6th and 7th abdominal segments. The external genital pores are represented by male gonopophysis. The female reproductive system consists of 2 large ovaries present in the 2nd, 6th abdominal segment on the lateral side of the body. Each ovary is a group of 8 ovarian tubules, consists of chain of developing ova. These ovaries are connected by an oviduct that opens into the genital pore. Additionally, a pair of spermatheca present in the 6th chamber opens into the genital pore. During copulation, male cockroach transfers sperms into oviduct of females. The fertilized eggs are then wrapped in capsules called oothecae. These capsules are then dropped on a suitable surface near source of food. Each oothecae contains about 14 to 16 eggs. Thus, in cockroaches, the fertilization is internal and development is parametabulous, as it follows from nymphal stage. Frogs. Frog is amphibious. It is found in freshwater bodies like ditches, pools, ponds, lakes, slow-running streams, etc., and in moist grassy land near water bodies. They show following adaptations for amphibious mode of life. Skin is an important accessory organ of respiration, for which it is kept moist. Escape from their enemy by jumping in water. Fertilization and development takes place in water. Morphology. Body of frog is divisible into head and trunk. The neck and tail are absent. Skin is formed of 2 distinct layers, outer epidermis and inner dermis. It consists of connective tissue, cells and fibers, blood vessels and capillaries, nerve fibers and smooth muscle fibers. The triangular-shaped head is continued into the trunk portion. The anteriorly placed mouth is a wide transverse opening. Pair of external nares is present at a short distance above the mouth. Just behind the eyes on each side, pigmented tympanum is present. The eyes are protected by upper and lower eyelids. The trunk comprises anterior thorax and posterior abdomen. Pair of forelimbs and hindlimbs is appended to the trunk. Each forelimb consists of proximal upper arm and middle forearm, wrist and a hand bearing 4 fingers. The hindlimbs are much longer than the forelimbs and are much more powerful. Anatomy. The alimentary canal is distinguished into following parts: mouth and buccopharyngeal cavity. In frog, mouth is a wide slit like crescentic aperture at the tip of snout. It extends from the tympanum of one side to that of other side. In frog, buccal cavity and pharynx together form buccopharyngeal cavity. Pharynx. The posterior part of buccopharyngeal cavity represents pharynx. It is perforated by 2 apertures. The wide and folded aperture situated in the middle is the gullet. It opens into the oesophagus. Oesophagus. It is a broad and contractile tube. Due to the absence of neck, it is very short and passes into the stomach. Stomach. Situated on the left side in the body cavity. The stomach is the widest part of the alimentary canal, about 2 inches long. Alimentary canal. Intestine. Stomach opens into a long tubular intestine. It is divided into 3 parts. Duodenum, small intestine or ileum, and large intestine or colon rectum. Duodenum. It is the anterior U-shaped part of intestine. It lies parallel to the stomach. Small intestine or ileum. It forms several loops which are held together by a fan-like dorsal mesentery. It is a thin-walled, convoluted tube about 8 to 10 inches long. Large intestine or colon rectum. It is short but comparatively wide tubes. Its inner surface is produced into longitudinal folds. It is also called rectum. Cloaca and cloacal aperture. The distal part of rectum is called cloaca or cloacal chamber. It receives openings of urinogenital ducts from kidneys and of urinary bladder. Respiratory system. The energy required for daily metabolic activities is supplied by the oxidation or combustion of food. During this process, oxygen is consumed and CO2 is liberated. The process of intake of oxygen and out-pushing of CO2 constitutes breathing, and the chemical changes which result in the oxidation of food and liberation of heat energy and CO2 constitute respiration. Circulatory system. Frogs have a well-developed closed type of circulation. They show blood vascular and lymphatic system. Blood vascular system includes a heart, blood vessel and blood. Heart is 3-chambered. It has 2 auricles and 1 ventricle. Heart is covered by a membranous pericardium. A triangular structure called sinus venosus joins the right atrium. It receives blood through major veins called vena cava. The ventricle opens into a sac-like conus arteriosus on the ventral side of the heart. Heart pumps the blood to all parts of the body through arteries and veins, collect the blood from all parts of the body to the heart. Frogs have hepatic portal system and renal portal system. Hepatic portal system is the special venous connection between liver and intestine, while renal portal system is the venous connection between the kidney and the lower parts of the body. Blood is composed of plasma and 3 types of blood corpuscles, namely erythrocytes, that is, red blood corpuscles; leukocytes, that is, white blood corpuscles; thrombocytes, that is, platelets. Erythrocytes are nucleated and contain the red pigment hemoglobin for transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Lymph lacks a few proteins, erythrocytes and platelets, as compared to blood. Excretory system. The excretion is the process of elimination of waste materials resulting from metabolism, which are to be discharged from the body as useless products. The main excretory organ in frog is a pair of kidneys. The microscopic structure of kidney reveals the presence of numerous coiled tubes, which are known as uriniferous tubules. The uriniferous tubules starts in the form of a cap, having 2 walls, lined by flattened cells of granular epithelium. Nervous system. Nervous system is made up of neurons, that is, nerve cells. Nervous system consists of 3 main parts: central nervous system, brain; spinal cord; peripheral nervous system, cranial nerves; spinal nerves; and autonomic nervous system. The significance of brain in the body is to control and coordinate the functions of body cells, tissues, and organ systems so that they act harmoniously as a unit. Frog brain is divided into three main parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain is formed of olfactory lobes, cerebrum, and diencephalon. Midbrain includes optic lobes, crura cerebri. Hindbrain is divided into two main parts: cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Reproductive system. The male reproductive organ of frog are a pair of testes, 10 to 12 pair of vasa efferentia, and a pair of urinogenital duct or ureters. The testes are light yellow colored, oval or cylindrical bodies of about 1 inch in length. These are attached to the ventral surface of kidney at the anterior end by means of a fold of peritoneum, which is known as mesorchium. The testes are attached to the dorsal. From each testis, a dozen of vasa efferentia are issued to carry the sperm from testes. The ureters act to pass out the reproductive products to the exterior and hence are known as urinogenital duct. Female reproductive system. Female reproductive organs of frog are a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts, and a pair of uteri. The paired ovaries are situated in the posterior part of the body cavity, attached to the dorsal body wall and to the outer side of the kidneys by a double fold of peritoneum known as mesovarium. The ovary consists of a number of lobes, each of which is lined by germinal epithelium. The oviducts are two very long and convoluted tubes of thick walls. The oviduct is distinguished into three regions. Oviducal funnel. It is the anterior-most funnel-shaped part of the oviduct, which communicates with the body cavity by a wide oviducal aperture or ostium. Middle coiled part. The middle part of the oviduct is long, narrow, and very much coiled. Uterus. The posterior part of the each oviduct again widens considerably to form uterus ovisac. The fertilization in frog is external. Did you know? Transplanted nuclei and cell differentiation by Sir John B. Gurdon. The nucleus of a cell from a frog's intestine is transplanted into a frog's eggs and gives rise to a normal frog. Such experiments aid the study of how genes are controlled during embryonic development. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learnt. Earthworm has long, cylindrical and bilaterally symmetrical body. The head is not distinct in earthworm, and each segment in earthworm, except the first and the last, is provided with small cuticular bristles or setae. Alimentary canal of earthworms starts from the mouth in the first segment and ends into anus situated at the posterior end. Earthworm has a closed circulatory system. There is no specialized respiratory system in earthworm. Earthworm has receptor cells for light and touch senses. They can sense the light intensities and feel the vibrations on the ground. The earthworm is a hermaphrodite or monoecious, that is, both the ovaries and testes are present in the same individual. Cockroaches are insects with long antennae and legs which feed on scavenging. The body of the cockroach is divisible into head, thorax, and abdomen region. The alimentary canal is divided into three parts: foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Cockroaches have open circulatory system. In cockroaches, respiratory system is present on the lateral side of the body. Excretion in cockroach is done by Malpighian tubules, and they are dioecious. Frog is amphibious, and body of frog is divisible into head and trunk, and the neck and tail are absent. The process of intake of oxygen and outpushing of CO2 constitutes breathing, and the chemical changes which result in the oxidation of food and liberation of heat energy and CO2 constitute respiration. Frogs have a well-developed closed type of circulation. The main excretory organ in frogs is a pair of kidneys. Nervous system consists of three main parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. The male reproductive organ of frog are a pair of testes, 10 to 12 pair of vasa efferentia, and a pair of urinogenital ducts or ureters. Female reproductive organs of frog are a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts, and a pair of uteri.